Hello, fans, collectors, and investors. Welcome back to Iconic Baseball. I'm Iconic Al, and I want to thank you for joining me on another episode of The Countdown. This is my list of the 100 greatest and most iconic ball players in baseball history, of which we are on number 40 today. Now, this is quite simply an offensive machine. When you look at his numbers, the thing that really jumps out is that behemoth 107.2 WAR, which is just striking production over a 20-year period. And if you were a pitcher in the major leagues between 1956 and 1976, you were scared of him, quite simply. He finished his career fourth all-time in home runs at 586. He won an MVP in each league, the only man to ever do that. He won 2 World Series rings, and if you dig deeper into his more modern metrics, a 926 OPS and a 154 OPS plus is extremely elite. We're talking about a guy who hit 294 for a career with a 389 on base percentage. So great numbers all around. But numbers aside, the thing that really sets this man apart is the fact that he became the first black manager in Major League history in 1974. So that just elevates his legacy even further, as if it needed it. You know who I'm talking about, of course, the great Frank Robinson.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Hey, Kipe, these new uniforms look older than the old ones, you know?
Yeah, and they say Robinson helped design them.
It figures.
I kind of like the new uniforms, though.
You like these? They're so old-fashioned, though. They're so serious. They're so you.
Come on, Giants. Hang in there.
Frank Robinson, one of the elite sluggers and most feared hitters in baseball history. Over a 20-year career which spanned from 1956 to 1976, he amassed 107.2 WAR. He compiled 2,943 hits, so missed the 3,000 hit club by about 57 hits. He hit 294 for a career with a 389 on base percentage. This guy was a very productive hitter. A 926 OPS puts him in very elite company, and a 154 OPS plus is very, very good. He finished his career with 586 home runs, which, as I mentioned, at his retirement was 4th all-time. He has a Gold Glove Award, a batting title, and won an MVP in both leagues. He's a 14-time All-Star and won 2 World Series rings, which included a World Series MVP in 1966. Oh, and by the way, he won the Triple Crown in 1966. This guy did it all. And on top of all of that, he has the distinction of becoming the first black manager in Major League Baseball history, and would go on to win the Manager of the Year in 1988. This man has solidified his legacy, has left his mark, and will always be remembered as one of the true greats. Let's get into some items here. Let's start with this single-signed baseball. This is one I've had in my collection since high school, about 25 years ago. Single-signed ballpoint autograph there. Beautiful signature by Frank Robinson, where he finishes and comes back around with that N. Always liked his signature. This is on an American League Bobby Brown baseball. This is one that I had not too long ago, certified by Beckett, just for peace of mind. But really nice piece there. Frank Robinson did a lot of signing during his life, and consequently, his autographs are not too pricey. You can still pick up signed baseballs and signed items for Frank Robinson for pretty good values. Next in line is a set that I talk about all the time, the 99 Century Legends Epic Signatures by Upper Deck. one of my all-time favorite autograph sets, on-card sets. Came out in that era when I was just finishing high school, and really got into picking these up. Always loved the aesthetic of these. Great player portrait with a beautiful signature on the left there. Still think they're one of the most attractive autograph sets out there. Now this one, I did a VR for Clemente Collector about 6 months ago. He wanted us to show our favorite well-loved cards that weren't kind of beat up, maybe low grade. This one, I did a whole video on this card, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this is a 65 Topps Frank Robinson that was given to me probably when I was about 12 years old, 13 years old maybe, by my Uncle Tom, who collected this card when he was younger. And it's certainly not in high grade, but it's special to me. And it has a little T there in the corner, because that's what my Uncle Tom did when he was a kid. He would put his initial in the corner, just so all the kids on the block would know that that was his card. So this is a card that I keep purely for nostalgia, but just so happens that Mr. Robinson falls into my top 100 as well. So I figured I'd just throw that in there. But feel free to go back and watch my VR for Clemente Collector entitled Well-Loved Cards if you want to see the full story on this card. A really nice example of a Reds era portrait for Frank Robinson earlier in his career. Frank Robinson's rookie card is in 57 Topps. People kind of knock this card because he's choking up on the bat. And being the slugger that he was, it's sort of ironic that they show him choking up on the bat. But I like it. I think it's a nice looking card. And it's Frank Robinson's only rookie, obviously. And I think it's a great value, actually. In a PSA 5, this card is about a $300 card, which I think is very, very reasonable, given the caliber of player that we're talking about here. So that's a card that I wouldn't be opposed to owning someday, if it would fit in the budget. I found the right example. But for you collectors out there, the 57 Topps Frank Robinson is his rookie card. I don't have one, but would be open someday in the future to acquiring one. Okay, on to the next one. This is my 68 Topps Game Frank Robinson. Now, this set features all the greats of the day, including Mantle, Mays, Aaron, Clemente, and Frank Robinson. Being a bit of a type collector, I like to have representation of different sets. As I collect my top 100, I definitely weighed that heavily when it came to which cards that I would target. And so I really like the look of this Frank Robinson, and these cards are very cheap, even in high grades. In fact, I targeted this one as a PSA 8. It's a pretty high grade for a card from 1968, and it was still only 40 or 50 bucks. So there is definitely some value to be had there, because people generally aren't looking at these cards too hard. I don't think there's a huge demand for them. Maybe there will be, I'm not sure, but I feel like these more subset, oddball, derivative sets might pick up steam in the coming years, and especially at high grades, I could see them being more coveted than they are now. It's sort of inspired by the 51 Topps red back, blue back set. A very similar look to them, especially the backs. And I don't know, it's just a nice portrait image with a facsimile autograph. And Frank Robinson here is featured on the triple card. And Frank Robinson actually hit 72 triples in his career, which surprised me. But that's my 68 Topps Game, Frank Robinson. Well, everyone, I sincerely thank you for joining me on these videos. I have a lot of fun doing these, and thanks for following along. I look forward to breaking into the 30s next week. And until next time, keep collecting and stay iconic.